Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Jamaica's opposition conflicted on pay increase for parliamentarians. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 23rd May 2023. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. The opposition People's National Party (PNP) appears to be at odds over the latest move by the government to increase parliamentarian salaries by more than 200% following several decades without a raise. CVM Live's Nika Lewis reports.
The opposition People's National Party appears to be at odds over the latest move by the government to increase parliamentarian salaries by more than 200% following several decades without a raise. The spokesman on finance yesterday welcomed the increase while recommending the government moves with alacrity to fix the anomalies with compensation in other areas of public service. However, a statement from the party's general secretary hours later objected to the massive increase and urged the government of Jamaica to return to negotiations with the public sector unions before satisfying the needs of the political class. Nika Lewis reports.
The opposition appears conflicted in their response to the recently announced 200% salary increase for the political directorate. In response to the finance minister's announcement in the parliament Tuesday, the finance spokesman, Julian Robinson, shared as much.
Madam Speaker, the opposition takes no issue with what the minister has announced. We would urge the government to deal with the anomalies that exist for civil servants who have been granted increases and where there are discrepancies in their salaries, to urgently address those anomalies so that everyone can benefit from the new compensation package. But we take no issue. I would ask one question. In relation to retired parliamentarians who are pensioners, is there any indexation between their pension and these new salary levels?
To which the minister replied,
Madam Speaker, I will take the members' contribution as a statement of support for these reforms by the opposition, which I am grateful for. With respect to the point on addressing anomalies, Madam Speaker, this House and the country at large can rest assured that the Ministry of Finance and Public Service and the Transformation Implementation Unit are working overtime to address any anomalies that arise. The anomaly to the individual is as if the world is coming down because it's their particular experience. We can't afford to look at it from the point of view of 100,000. For that individual, that is all that matters in the world. And as a result, Madam Speaker, we take each and every one of the cases brought before us absolutely seriously.
However, it appears Robinson didn't speak for the whole when he made those initial remarks. Hours later, a statement from the opposition PNP notes the party's disagreement with the salary hike while urging the government of Jamaica to instead revisit wage talks with the public sector unions. The party strongly objected to the massive salary increase for cabinet ministers and members of parliament, adding it was a decision taken without consultation. It states the JLP-led government sought their non-objection on a decision already made, despite what it called a flawed compensation restructuring that left several critical groups feeling undervalued. The party is urging the government to fix the flaws for those public servants before attending to the interest of the political class. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, and the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, are calling for accountability and transparency in relation to the salary matter. Javine McLean of CVM Live filed this report.
The private sector organization of Jamaica and the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association are calling for accountability and transparency in relation to the salary matter. The groups are imploring the government to take immediate action in implementing measures that will reassure citizens of their commitment to good governance and improved productivity. More from Javine McLean.
In a release issued on Thursday, the PSOJ and the JMEA stated that while they do not object to the new salary increase, they do believe there has been a lack of communication with the public on the justification for these pay hikes when sections of the population have been plagued by the effects of high inflation and many years of low economic growth. The PSOJ and JMEA says given the massive salary increases, the public will now be expecting a significant improvement in the performance of its recipients. They are urging members of the public to utilize the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, to track the performance of elected officials, as these tools will ensure transparency in the political process. In an interview with JMEA President John Mafood, he says there should be a clear criteria by which parliamentarians are regularly evaluated for their performance.
It's up to the cabinet and the team leaders of the respective parties to evaluate, to set those criteria and to be able to hold their members accountable for their performance. And it does seem from the outside that it's not very formalized in any respect.
He says the lack of education surrounding the increases is a natural source of anger for much of the public.
And so what we have is a situation for many, many years, there's been no increase. And their salaries were too low. And then without proper communication to the general public, without adequate communication, the salaries were just announced. And the salary level, the increase in the salary level seemed massive.
However, President Mafood is in agreement with Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke's statement that the salary increase is strategically important in attracting brilliant minds.
So the salary level has to be good enough to attract top quality people who are looking for a career in politics and who are looking to do good for the country. But they have their families to look after, and they have to have a salary that will allow them to be comfortable.
Moreover, both organizations believe that going forward, it is important for the government to implement a system for regular objective salary adjustments to prevent a recurrence of the current situation. Javine McLean, CVM Live.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
With the rise in gun-related crimes in Tobago, the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has embarked on a Tobago Firearm Recovery Initiative. On Friday last, senior officers told the media they have begun seeing the results. TTT News has more.
So far, we have recovered one pistol and 13 rounds of .5.7 ammunition. And that type of ammunition is military grade. Not quite often you will see, this is the second of such type of weapon we recovered in Tobago so far for the year. So we have seen a new trend of arms and ammunition floating around in Tobago. This weapon is so dangerous that it's as said, that worldwide it is used only by the military. It can pierce body armor.
The firearm was found at Coral Gardens, Buku, in a bushy area. No one has been arrested. However, officers say they have leads. Assistant Commissioner of Police Collis Hazel highly commended the officers who made the find.
Today we are celebrating our small milestones of success. And I say this for this reason because today's initiative is what we can say with all assurances is that we have saved 13 lives from the hands of the perpetrators of firearm offences, having retrieved 1 firearm and 13 rounds of ammunition off the streets of Tobago.
2 firearms were also seized in Tobago on Thursday. The officers involved in recovering the firearms received certificates of commendation during Friday's press briefing. For 2023, 6 firearms have been recovered in Tobago.
The trial by judge alone bill has been referred to a special select committee of the Senate. This after the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago sought to assure opposition and independent senators of an amendment to the bill preserving the right of an accused to be tried by a judge and jury once the judge is satisfied that the accused has proper legal advice. Jewel Brown of TV6 News reports.
After the Senate approved a $3.9 billion supplemental allocation to the government's budget for fiscal 2023, Attorney General Reginald Moore wound up the upper house's debate of the trial by judge alone bill.
As at May 11th, 2023, accused persons have availed themselves of the option of judge alone trials. On average, 2 requests were made per month for judge-alone trials during the year 2022, while 13 requests were made for the month of January 2023 alone thus far.
However, the Attorney General did not say how many accused persons requested trial by jury for the same period.
Of the 59 completed judge-alone trials, there have only been 6 appeals, which demonstrates confidence and trust in this mode of trial.
2 weeks ago, the AG said in a media release that after having viewed the televised recording of the media conference during which National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines made reference to the Brent Thomas matter, and after having spoken with the minister, he was satisfied that it was not the intention of the minister in any way to impugn the integrity of the judiciary. And in the Senate on Tuesday night,
the competence, value, and capacity, training, objectivity, and dispassionate ability of our judges cannot be called in question.
The Express newspaper has reported that the Law Association expressed objections to the government about the bill and said trials by jury should be left alone.
We have here an amendment which is not only preserving the right of an accused, the election of an accused, to be tried by a judge and jury.
In the meantime, the people have their say on should the Privy Council remain the final appellate court of Trinidad and Tobago.
No, I don't believe so. We have the Caribbean Court of Justice, and I believe that seeing that we had that separation from England so long ago, we have our own laws and our own system. We have that whole Caribbean judicial system. I think we should reach a point where we should have our own final court of appeal.
Does it make sense? Because at the end of the day, government still run everything?
No, I think that system has been outdated, and what is taking place in our country and our culture, we need to sort out our business ourselves.
We have to learn to make our own decisions and stand by them. We know our problems. We know what's happening in our country. Why are we allowing somebody who does not live in Trinidad, who may not understand our culture, decide, make decisions for us?
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.